So we're going to do a couple of quick word association exercises. I'm going to mention a person, and I want to hear the first thing that comes to mind. I'm looking for just a word or a phrase, nothing more. So again, I'll call on you for these. The first person I want to hear first thing that comes to mind about is Vice President Harris. First thing that comes to mind. Sabrina.
Um, I don't know if I can. It's not comforting. It's just like this kind of chill vibe that she has, in my opinion. I mean, I feel like you gotta be hard to be a woman in politics, but when she talks, sometimes she just seems kind of a little chill, more chill than I think Trump. I don't feel as
Okay, so chill is the word. Got it.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
All right. All right. Kevin.
Unserious.
All right. Bettina.
Timid.
Ashley.
Probably frustration.
Mark.
High aspirations.
Tara.
Mine was serious.
Is say it again? I'm sorry.
It was serious.
Serious.
Yes.
Okay. Serious like she's a serious person, or serious like you have serious concerns?
I would say both. She seems like she's more of business related to me, like serious in that part, and then also addresses serious concerns, I would say.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Next, same question, but about former President Trump. First word or phrase that comes to mind when you hear his name. Everybody have one? Okay. Mark.
Businessman.
Ashley.
Hot air.
Bettina.
His own agenda.
Kevin.
Makes mistakes.
Sabrina.
Aggressive.
Tara.
I'd say hard, meaning he's kind of like a hard up type person, if that makes sense.
Okay. Got it. Let's go back to Vice President Harris. What, if anything, do you folks like about her? Anybody can go first. What do you like about her?
I think she
Oh,
means
anybody?
well.
Oh, you raise a finger. I'm a big help a little bit. I'm sorry. Mark, go ahead.
Oh, I guess this goes back to the word that I used when you said her name. I think she has high aspirations. I don't know that she's going to be able to deliver on all of those, but I think she has high aspirations.
Okay.
She has lofty goals, and I don't know if she's going to be able to get it done. But
Okay. Kevin?
I think she means well. I think she seems to, be a nice person.
Any other things you guys like about her? Sabrina?
Yeah, I agree with both of them, and she seems like a caring person for people in general. I feel
Okay.
like.
All right. Any other things you like about her?
I would say she's kind of comforting.
All right.
Does have high aspirations, like Mark was saying, but she's also comforting.
Got it. Okay. Let's go back to former President Trump. What, if anything, do you like about him? Sabrina?
I think he is a very, very smart man, especially when it comes to finances and money, and I think that's something that America can always benefit from.
Okay. What else? What else do you like about him? Bettina?
He speaks his mind no matter what comes out.
Speaks his mind. Okay. What else? Ashley?
He doesn't back down no matter what anyone throws at him.
Okay. Kevin?
I think he's willing to make an unpopular choice.
And who else? Mark.
Yeah, I like his stand on the border, and I like his stand on foreign relations.
Okay. Let's go back to Vice President Harris. What, if anything, do you dislike about her? What do you dislike about Harris? Ashley? Hold on one
She
second.
just, sorry.
Go ahead, Ashley.
She just doesn't feel genuine to me. A lot of what she says and does feels fake to me, or not faked, but saying what people want to hear rather than what she genuinely feels.
Okay. What else do you dislike about her? Actually, Mark, we're keeping you muted just because we're getting some background feedback. You can talk now, obviously, but just keep yourself muted when you're not talking. Go ahead, Mark.
Is that better?
It's fine. If you're not talking, we're hearing feedback. So if you just keep muted when you're not talking, that would be great.
I would agree with Ashley that but I also think that I feel like she's kind of a puppet. I feel like somebody else is pulling the strings.
All
You know,
right.
I feel like she's saying what other people are having her say, and I don't know that it's necessarily all her agenda.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Anything else people dislike about Harris? Kevin?
I think she uses a lot of language about, like, we're going to fight for this, and a lot of this kind of speaking truth to power type language. But I think she's been the second most powerful person in the entire world for 4 years and hasn't shown much of action.
Okay. Let's go back to former President Trump. What, if anything, do you dislike about him?
He has no filter.
No filter. Okay. What else?
Yeah, I think he just says pretty much what he wants, whether it's right or wrong at times. I think he can have better choice of words.
Okay. Sabrina?
I feel like you can be a good leader and you can build yourself up without tearing somebody else down. And that just doesn't seem to be something that he does.
Okay. Ashley?
Kind of building on that, I feel like he's a bit too much of a bully. Like, there's one thing for standing up for yourself. There's another thing when it comes to just attacking someone just to attack them, kind of thing.
Got it. Great. Anything else? Mark?
I really, really wish he would do some fact checking before he opens his mouth and lets stuff come out of it. It really bothers me that he just, I don't mind that he says stuff that's some people are offended by. I just wish that if he's going to say something, I wish he would actually make sure that he was right when he said it.
Great, thank you. So imagine you could have the experience of spending a half hour hanging out at a bar with either Trump or Harris. So first, if you had to choose by a show of fingers, who would choose hanging with Trump? Four of you would. Okay. The other two would take Harris? Okay. Kevin, why would you hang with Trump?
I just sort of think he'd be a lot more fun to hang out with if we're talking about that type of angle of it.
Okay. The other three of you who chose Trump, what are the other reasons why you would choose to hang out with him instead of Harris? Bettina?
Same. He seemed like he'd be more fun.
Yeah, I'm looking for other reasons.
Oh, other reasons? That's sorry. That's
Okay. Any other reason why you would choose to hang out with Trump other than that he would be more fun? Ashley.
I feel like his views would align with mine, so we'd have things to actually talk about and agree on.
Okay. And Mark?
I'd like to hang out with him. I'd like to get a lot of his insight on business.
Okay. Great. For the two of you who would choose Harris, Tara, why would you choose her?
I would say I'd choose her because it looks like she'll be a little bit easier to have a conversation with, and also would be a little bit more understanding about, far as politics and things that goes around, far as women and things like that. So she kind of be a little bit easier to talk to me.
Okay. And Sabrina?
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like I'd laugh more. I feel like the vibe would be more chill and goofy, probably.
Got it. Okay. When it comes to Donald Trump, what are you most hopeful about? Kevin?
I would hope that he would build up our manufacturing infrastructure, specifically our military manufacturing infrastructure, shipbuilding, that type thing.
Okay. Sabrina?
I would hope that, just overall, our economy and people's day-to-day living would hopefully be a little easier for Americans.
Okay. All right. And Mark?
I'm hopeful that he will finish with the border wall and securing our borders and having. I don't mind if people come into the country, but that they need to do it legally instead of just walking through.
Okay. Great. When it comes to Kamala Harris, what are you hopeful about? Kevin?
I would hope that she would be strong on environmental things, especially kind of things that tie into maybe workers and environmental things, or energy.
Okay. What else? Mark?
I'm hopeful that she will do what she says as far as lowering costs of everyday goods.
Okay. Sabrina?
I'm hopeful that if she gets elected, that she would be a really great example of a woman president, because I feel like that's a very crucial thing right now. If you're going to be a woman president, the very first one this far along, then you're going to have to be better than most of the previous ones, if not the best, because that's just kind of how it feels when you a big moment like that too.
Okay. When it comes to Donald Trump, what are you most fearful of? Let me hear from Tara. What are you fearful of when it comes to Trump? Anything?
When it comes to him, I think the most fearful thing is just him seeing everyone as a whole. That everyone, I guess what I'm trying to say is that he sees mid-class, the upper class and the lower class all together as one and try to help everybody.
Now,
And
wait a second. What about him scares you? Does anything scare you about Trump?
it's just the way he talks sometimes. Not that he's blunt, or anything like that. It's just that the way he kind of presents himself, his personalities looks a little bit more way serious to me. Like he's not ever in a jokingly mood, I guess.
Got it. Ashley, what are you fearful of when it comes to Trump?
How foreign powers will react if he gets reelected, because I know there was some bad blood first time. I don't know what they'd do if it happened again.
Okay. These are friendly foreign powers or unfriendly foreign powers?
Unfriendly.
Unfriendly. Okay. Got it. Bettina, anything about Trump that scares you? Fearful of?
The disappearance of middle class altogether. Bigger divide between the richer and the poor.
What happened under him? That's what you worry about?
Mhm.
Okay. Kevin?
If he were to get elected, I would be afraid he would spend his whole term, Twitter fighting and fighting in the courts rather than being president.
Sabrina?
Well, something that I'm fearful for is that I don't feel like he has enough people telling him, hey, maybe this isn't the best idea. I feel like he has a bunch of yes men, and that can be dangerous, especially for that to be our president in that situation. And also his hardcore supporters. I don't know, the Capitol riot, that really left a number on me. So I feel like, unless he can really gain control over that, that's just kind of something that stuck with me. Seeing, there's hardcore on both sides, but that was just like a terrorist attack. It was crazy.
Okay. What? Mark?
I'm afraid that he may do something that would harm or directly affect Social Security. People don't need reduced benefits or have a Social Security issue at all, and I'm afraid that he would do or say something or create some policy that might make that worse than it already is, as opposed to making it better.
Okay. When it comes to Kamala Harris, what are you most fearful of? Ashley?
I fear that if she gets elected, the country will be even more divided and that she won't be powerful enough to help alleviate it or calm it down. Things will get kind of out of control under her. Maybe because she's a woman, maybe because I don't feel like her authority is really in place enough. I don't know.
Okay, so Ashley, just understand this. So you're concerned that she won't be powerful enough. Is that because she's a woman that she won't be powerful enough?
I was saying that either not because I believe because she's a woman, but because, people don't trust a woman in power, believe a woman can be in power. So it's that ideology that a lot of people still hold, or because she hasn't actually affirmed her authority yet as, as vice president or even as an elect. She hasn't really shown that authority yet to me.
Okay, got it. What else are you fearful of when it comes to Harris, Kevin?
I don't think she's capable of managing a conflict, a war, should one arise.
Okay. Mark?
I'm afraid that if she tries to do all the things that she wants to do, like building 3 million new homes and plans for this and plans for that, that the deficit is just going to spiral out of control. And I'm afraid that she doesn't have the power or the support to be able to raise taxes on the people that need the taxes raised. I feel like the deficit's just going to go through the roof further than it already is.
Okay. Got it. By a show of fingers, who might not vote in this election and might sit it out? Any of you thinking of sitting it out? Ashley, I'm judging you might still sit it out.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence, but not undecided or not decided to sit it out yet.
Okay, so what are the odds that you're not going to vote? Are they low? Are they high?
I see right now 70% chance will, 30% chance won't. So pretty on the higher end, but still got that doubt.
Okay. And why would you not vote?
Primarily because I still under the impression that a single vote doesn't count. I originally was from a state where the election was decided before the votes were even closed. So it was like, why should I bother? And I kind of had that mentality when I came of age to vote. So I never really thought there was a point to it because of that. Now that I'm in another state where, I can actually vote on time and it's not closed yet, it's still, will it matter? And yeah, and then I know like just the conflict of who you vote for, people get so mad over it, whether you tell them or not, they kind of get the idea of who you voted for and they get mad at you. So I don't know, feels like better to not vote and avoid the conflict altogether.
Okay. Please know this is not a personal judgment on my part at all. Do you have any concern that people will look at you if you don't vote in an important election and say you really just didn't do your civic duty? Does that go through your head at all? Like, I really have an obligation to vote?
Like for local things, yeah, because that actually has an impact. But for the presidential, no, it doesn't really feel like my civil duty to make someone a president. But yeah, but it doesn't like I don't think people would look at me negatively for not voting. Whereas if I did vote and I didn't vote the right way, then people would look at me negatively. So it's kind of that challenge both ways.
Okay. So you're both ways, meaning if you vote for X or vote for Y.
Yes.
Okay. But you're not concerned that people look at you and say, oh my God, how could you not vote in this election? That's not a concern.
I feel like people are more concerned about those who are undecided who they will vote for rather than people who decide they're not going to vote at all.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for letting me go back and forth with you on that. Okay. I want you to think back to when Trump was president, from January of 2017 to January of 2021. All of you, I'm going to ask each of you to give me a word or a phrase to describe what life in America was like during that period of time, during the Trump administration. For a word or a phrase to describe what life was like in America during that period of time. Everybody have one? You do? Bettina, what's yours?
Life was okay. It wasn't really bad. It wasn't really, really great, but I felt like I was surviving.
Got it.
Now I don't feel like I'm surviving.
Got it. Sabrina.
Me, it was all I can really think is sad because I don't know, during that time it just seemed like it could just be, I don't know, from social media, maybe social media, I don't know, but everyone was so much more okay just being kind of rude or something, which was disheartening.
Okay. Tara?
I would say during that time it was okay, but again, I guess it was a little bit more scary for me. Because it was almost like people to me were being, it wasn't a lot of unity like it was before, I
Got it.
guess.
Mark?
Prosperous is the word.
Okay.
Economy was good. Jobs were good.
Got it.
Right up until COVID. COVID's a whole different thing, but
Got it. Guys, by the way, I'm not meaning to cut. That's nothing about you, Mark. I got to move faster. Ashley, give me a word to describe what life was like in America during this period of time.
I feel like it was hopeful.
Okay. And Kevin?
Same.
Okay. Next, please think back to the period of time we're in now, when Biden has been president, from January 2021 to the present. Please give me a word or phrase to describe what life in America has been like during that period of time. Everybody have one? Okay. Mark?
difficult.
Okay. Tara?
I would say I was hopeful.
Sabrina,
Confusing.
Bettina,
Struggling.
Kevin,
Anxious.
Ashley.
I also was thinking struggle.
Great. Please think back to early September of this year and the 7 weeks between then and today. By a show of fingers, who recalls something happening either in the world at large or during the presidential campaign that caused you to shift how you view either Trump or Harris? Anything happened in the last 7 weeks that's caused you to shift your view of Trump or Harris? Something in the campaign or something external happening in the world? Any of you?
Was that when Biden, like this is after Biden? I can't remember how long
This is
ago.
since Labor Day. Biden dropped out in July.
Oh yeah, okay. Woo.
We're talking about since the conventions, since Labor Day. In the last 7 weeks, anything happened that has caused you to see the candidates differently? I got one of you, Kevin. What is it?
I think her attempt to kind of play both sides on the Israel-Palestine issue has shown a real lack of direction or substance.
Okay, got it. Ashley?
I'm gonna say Elon Musk siding with Donald Trump and endorsing him.
And how has that affected you?
Oh, very positively because I like Elon Musk and I feel like he's been good for our economy and our country. So him siding with Trump makes me think that he's gonna help with the economy and the job situation.
Got it. Okay. By a show of fingers, who has received emails, text messages, or campaign postcards or letters from either campaign or from their surrogates? All 6 of you have. Okay. And by a show of fingers, who'd say you're getting a lot more mail, text messages, or campaign snail mail from one presidential candidate as compared to the other? Who's seeing an off balance? Who's seeing you're getting a lot more from one than the other? Any of you? Any of you? So 2 of you are getting more from one than the other. All right. Tara, who are you getting more from?
Trump.
And in what form are you getting a lot of that?
A lot of text messages.
Okay. And Bettina?
I get more from Harris.
And in what form does that come?
Mostly text messages.
All right. All right. On this next question, I don't know whether you are betting people, whether you wager on things. If you don't, pretend that you do. Okay. This is just an intellectual question, not an intellectual question. It's a hypothetical question. Okay. So just go with it with me. So if someone required you to bet $50 on the outcome of the presidential election in November, which candidate would you bet on winning? Now, I want you to note, I am not asking you which candidate you want to win because you like that candidate better or believe them more or like what their platform is. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you who you think realistically will win so that you get the $50. This is literally like, which horse would you put the money on in order for the horse to win the race? Everybody understand the question? It's not about your preference, who you'd like. It's which candidate is going to win, whether you like them or not. All right. By a show of fingers, who would put the $50 on Harris? Two of you. Who would put the $50 on Trump? 4 of you. Okay. Mark, what gives you the confidence that Harris is going to win, that you're willing to put the $50 on her?
Because she tells people what they want to hear. She tells people about better economies and better life and better jobs and better, and That's how you win elections. You win elections by telling people what they want to hear, not what you're going to do or what you're capable of doing or whether or not you're good at it or not. You tell people what they want to hear.
Okay. Who's the other one who said her? Is it Sabrina? Sabrina, why Harris?
Honestly, it's just like me leaning more towards that way because I'm really unsure. I feel like either one of them could take it, but I'm leaning more towards her possibly getting it, and I'm not sure why. It's just a feeling.
It's just a feeling, okay?
Yeah.
The other four of you who'd say Trump. Bettina, why would you put $50 on Trump?
He's already done it once. A lot of people go with what you know.
Ashley, why would you put the $50 on Trump?
I agree because he's already held the office. He's got a lot of endorsements and he has a lot of promises that a lot of people need the hope for. And I feel like a lot of people lost confidence in the Democratic Party once Biden dropped out. So that kind of shifted as well.
Okay. Tara, why would you put $50 on Trump?
Simply just because he's a man. Like say, if we're taking the preference out, I would just say because he's a man.
Okay. Kevin?
I think the election's going to come down to a small group of voters in a couple of states, most of whom voted for Biden in the last election and voted for Trump in the election before that. And I don't think the Democrats have anything to really show for the last 4 years. I think most people are worse off than they were 4 years ago, and they're going to vote based on that.
Got it. All right. I'm very curious about your political affiliations, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. So who in this group considers themselves a Democrat? Show of fingers. Who's a Democrat? 3 of you. Who's a Republican? 2 of you. Who's independent? Kevin, 1 of you. All right. So we're going to do a couple of word association exercises. I'm going to mention a person. And I just want to hear the first thing that comes to mind when you hear that person's name. I'm looking just for a word or a phrase. Okay? Don't overthink it. Again, I'll call on you one at a time. Let's start with Vice President Harris. Charmin, first word or phrase that comes to mind.
Undecided.
Okay. Nicole? You're muted.
Too liberal.
Too liberal? Okay. Zaire?
Quirky.
Okay. Malachi?
Determined.
Gunnar?
Unknown.
James?
Failed.
Okay. Next, former President Trump. First word or phrase that comes to mind when you hear his name. Everybody have one? Okay. Gunnar?
Business.
James?
Successful.
Malachi?
Entertaining.
Zaire?
Hilarious.
Nicole?
Volatile.
Charmin?
Determined.
Okay. So let's go back to Vice President Harris. What, if anything, do you 6 folks like about her? So there's nothing that any of you like about her.
I like that she's not a career politician.
I like that she's a female.
I like that she's something different.
I like how she's personable.
Okay.
Prosecutor.
All right.
Educated.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Educated.
Wait. Let's go back to former President Trump. What, if anything, do you like about him?
Discipline.
Also not a career politician.
Business minded.
Successful again.
Get stuff done.
Okay.
Captivating.
Let's go back to Vice President Harris. What, if anything, do you dislike about her?
I dislike that I don't know much.
Okay. What else?
I dislike her stance on some of her criminalization and prosecution efforts.
Okay.
I agree. I don't know much. I apologize, y'all.
Okay. What
Yes,
else?
I agree. I dislike that she wasn't more present before being nominated as the presidential candidate.
Okay. Anything else you don't like about her?
I dislike how she doesn't really focus on one issue. She kind of dodges it.
Doesn't commit.
Okay. Let's go back to former President Trump. What, if anything, do you dislike about him?
He's inflammatory and is bad for international relations.
What else?
I think he thinks I don't know. I agree with that, but he makes me nervous. The way some of his tactics are just a little bit kind of outlandish.
What else?
Overdriven.
Okay.
He's a bit hot-headed.
Anything else?
I dislike his past allegations of being racist.
Okay. James, anything you don't like about him?
I think too decisive at times.
Okay. So imagine you could have the experience of spending a half hour hanging out in a bar with either Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. First, if you had to choose, by a show of fingers, who would choose hanging with Trump? All 6 of you. Really? Zaire, why Trump?
Oh my goodness. I want to know how that brain ticks. Like, I really want to, after a tequila or an old fashioned, after the guard has come down a little bit, like, what is up, Trump? Like, what's going on for real? Like, let's really talk about it. So, yeah. Yeah, I want to know what he's thinking in there.
Okay. What's a different reason why they'd want to hang out with him?
I want to see what he's like when he's not performing for the camera.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with Zaire, but I also think that if I'm going to a bar, he looks like he's can have a good time.
Got it. Okay.
He seems like he'd be really entertaining the entire time.
Got it. Okay. So when it comes to Donald Trump, what are you most hopeful about?
Turn the economy around.
Okay. What else?
He's gonna be comfortable at what he's doing or what he's trying to do this term.
Okay.
I think he's in tune with business needs, and that's important to me.
All right. What else?
I think he has more relationships this time too. I think he's made some relationships and kind of has more of some type of strategy.
Anything else? Okay. When it comes to Kamala Harris, what are you most hopeful about?
I like her approach to international relations, especially trying to do root cause analysis on problems instead of just band-aiding them.
Okay.
Not to sound like a sexist or anything, but it's a female drive, and I support it because she's giving it an effort for what she believes in, and she may not be taking it as that stance, but it's something different, and I believe it has a possibility.
Okay. Charmin, what are you most hopeful about when it comes to Harris?
I hope that she does a good job and that she proves the naysayers wrong.
Anybody else?
I like the idea that my little girl will get to see somebody who looks more like her, even though it's not exactly, but more like her, in the driver's seat for the United States of America, even potentially.
Okay. When it comes to Donald Trump, what are you most fearful of?
Him
Getting
getting
in
hot head.
cahoots.
Oh,
Hang on a
Go
second.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
him flying off the handle and saying something kind of crazy a little bit too fast to someone who maybe has bigger tools than us that can go a little bit faster, and we end up at war again, and in a mess because of his ego.
Okay. What else?
I'm worried about myself and my daughters losing more rights to our bodies.
I'm worried about him supporting the Project 2025 agenda.
Okay. What else?
Overreacting.
Go ahead, James.
Overreacting.
Okay. Anything else? Gunnar, anything you're worried about with Trump?
Not really. I feel like he's learned kind of how to work things out since last time.
Got it. Okay. Any other worries about
Getting
Trump?
in cahoots with Russia.
Got it. Okay. When it comes to Kamala Harris, what are you most fearful of?
That she may be too moderate on some things and too liberal on some things, and that's just going to cause more division.
I worry that her desire to be liked might take precedence in her decision making.
Okay.
I
Flip-flop.
second that. Go ahead, James.
Oh, I was saying, going on what Zaire just said, is flip-flopping, going back and forth, saying the right thing to get elected and doing the wrong thing, or at least not what they were elected to do.
I'm afraid that she'll ruin the economy more than it already is based off of her proposed economic ideas.
Anything else?
I'm in agreement with all.
All right. Got it. By a show of fingers, who might not vote in this election and might sit it out? Any of you might sit it out? Charmin, you might still sit it out. Tell me about that.
The closer it gets, I'm still find myself undecided and I don't want to make the wrong decision. So it leans me towards not making a decision at all.
Okay. What are the chances? What Give me the percentage chance that you will not vote.
I would say 70% that I will and 30% that I won't.
Got it. Okay, I'm gonna circle back to each of you later about all of this. So I'm not gonna go into more detail. And you gave me the answer I was anticipating about what the reason is. Okay. So it's basically it's tied to your anxiety about not wanting to make the wrong decision. Okay. All right. So I'd like you all to think back to when Trump was president. So January 2017 to January 2021. Please, each of you, and I'll call on you, give me a word or phrase to describe what life in America was like during that period of time, during the Trump administration. What life was like in America during that period of time. Ever have a word or a phrase to describe that?
Robust.
I want to call on you. Hang on a second. Just make sure everybody has one before I call on anybody. All right. So, Malachi, go ahead.
Robust.
Okay. Gunnar.
Prosperous.
All right. James.
You stole my word. Prosperous.
Sharman.
I would say, you said 2017 to
During the Trump years when he was in office.
I would say it was just normal.
Okay. Nicole.
Growing divide.
Zaire.
Unpredictable.
Great. Next, please think back to the period we're in now, during the Biden administration, from January 2021 to the present. Please give me a word or phrase to describe what life in America has been like during this period of time. Everybody have one? You do? Okay. Sharman, why don't you go first?
I would say declining.
Nicole. Say it again, I'm sorry.
More difficult, harder.
Zaire?
Troubling.
Malachi?
Turning point.
Gunnar?
Struggle.
You stole it again.
Okay.
I'll go one deeper. Crashing.
Okay, great. So please think back to early September around Labor Day and the 7 weeks between then and today. Okay. By a show of fingers, who recalls something happening either in the world at large or during the presidential campaign that caused you to shift how you view either Trump or Harris? Basically during the course of September and through now in October. A couple of you have something. 3 of you do. 4 of you do. Okay. So James, why don't you go first?
As soon as she was named the nominee, more support to Trump.
Okay, but I'm talking about after that. She was named the nominee in late July. So since Labor Day, in the last 7 weeks, has anything happened that's caused you to shift?
Yeah, her lack of public appearance.
Okay, fine. Malachi?
There's this new ad that she support and sponsor that is like contradictory to what she stated.
Which ad is that?
The one where she got this stance on basically, like they said earlier in the conversation, on where she taking her stance to support something to divert from accepting accountability or responsibility for her past actions.
You remember what that topic was, though?
I believe it was the prison stance where she was supporting the gay transitionals or something like that in prison. And I'm a supporter of the gay pride, and that's what caught my attention because there was a black male that killed his mom or family members or something like that. And she changed the policy in whatever state it was or helped change that policy in there for that person to get some transgender stuff, and government funds was being spent for him to become a transgender in prison basis.
Okay, got it. And that caused you to like her less?
Yes.
Got it. Gunnar.
The vice presidential debate.
How did that change your view?
I gotta say, JD Vance really kind of swayed me more towards Trump.
Okay. Zaire?
I'm right there with Gunner. I was looking for something in that debate. I was looking, for something. And yeah, what I saw was just not, it didn't make me want to run and hug her and just embrace her and just be like, yay.
Talking about the vice presidential debate or the presidential debate?
No, the vice president. Oh no. Excuse me. My apologies. The presidential debate. Excuse me, my bad. The vice one was one too as well, but definitely the presidential debate.
I'm sorry. So I'm sorry. How did that affect you?
The presidential debate made me look at her in such a way I didn't really hear anything that made me feel like she would do great, in the president's seat. It didn't make me want to look more into her policies. It didn't make me more curious. It didn't really spark anything really.
And Zaire, why do you think that is?
I think that she is trying to tap into something to move the demographic that she's trying to reach into, and it's not working because it's inauthentic or it just feels inauthentic. We keep speaking about having, a Black woman president, a Black woman president, a Black woman president, and I've never once heard her say that. And that makes me feel away. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm under a rock. But I feel like everybody else is saying it and she isn't. And that's not missed on me.
Got it. Okay. So you're having a reaction to the fact that she's not talking about being a Black woman president.
Yes.
Got it. And that's inauthentic.
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Okay, great. By a show of fingers, who has received emails, text messages, or campaign postcards or letters from either campaign or from their surrogates? 5 of you have. Sorry, 1 second. And by a show of fingers, who'd say you're getting a lot more email, text messages, or campaign snail mail from one presidential candidate as compared to the other? Who feels that you're getting a disproportionate amount from one as opposed to the other? 2 of you are. Charmin, which campaign are you getting a lot more?
Harris.
Harris. So they mostly, in what form are those coming?
Postcards.
Okay. And Nicole, what about you? You're muted.
Sorry, Harris, and postcards, emails, texts, all 3.
Okay. So I don't know whether you folks are betting people, whether you wager money on things. If you do, great. And if you don't, just pretend for the next question. Okay. If someone required you to bet $50 on the outcome of this presidential election, which candidate would you bet on winning? Note that I am not asking you who you want to win. Your preferred candidate because you like them better, you believe their policies, you like them personally. I'm not asking about that. I'm asking you who you think realistically will win so that you can get the $50. Basically, it's like who's going to win the horse race. Okay, whether you want that horse to win or not. Everybody understand the nature of my question? You're solely looking at this as a financial proposition. How do I get the $50? Who am I going to choose? All right. So recognizing that, show of fingers. Who would put $50 on Harris to win the election? 2 of you. Who put the $50 on Trump? The other 4 of you. Okay. Malachi, why would you put the money on Harris?
It's a black movement thing.
Okay. Explain that to me. Why would you, how does that get
It's an
her?
African. How does that get her to for the bet? Because it's considered a wager, and the probability and statistics behind it, that would be the purpose of doing it.
Okay. But what gives you confidence that she's going to win the majority? She gets 270 votes in the Electoral College. That you'd be so confident in that you put $50 on it.
Just a sure gamble, because I don't like literally gamble because it's not a sure thing for me. Just as you said, to simulate it, that would be the purpose of it. Over Trump, I would give Trump if it was Trump pertaining, but that is not what I chose. I chose Harris for a wager.
Yeah,
The statistics. I'm listening.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to understand the logic that you're bringing to it. What is it that gets her to a majority of?
You're looking for me to put down some factual basis or ground coverage to support my purpose and thought logic for it. I don't gamble, so I would never gamble and bet on it. But for consideration, not outside of like going into depth, like, oh, she did this and all that. I don't follow her to give that type of information. I can only do this as a random toss of a coin, and that will be her over Trump.
Okay, got it. So this is merely you're guessing. There's nothing that you're bringing to in terms of any analysis in your mind or
correct.
Okay,
correct.
Got it. All right, thank you. Zaire, why would you put $50 on Harris?
I think people want something different. I think that people have seen Trump, and we've had that with him, and I think that even though we kind of know what we get with him, I think that there is a huge group of people, particularly young people, that are going to show up and they are going to show out, and they don't care like who knows it. They have an idea. These are individuals that I commune with. They have a mission, they are on a mission, and they want to see something different. And I believe that they're going to, that's why I put my wager on Miss Harris.
Okay. James, why would you put $50 on Trump?
I can't see any way he loses.
Okay. Why?
The bottom dollar. I have a lot less money now, and it's the same money that was coming in for the last five years.
Okay. Gunnar, why would you put $50 on Trump?
I do a lot of driving around in my spare time, and just seeing the yard signs, it's 90% Trump. I would wager even to say that Sweet Corn has a higher chance than Harris.
Okay. Charmin, why would you put it on Trump?
I think that from the media coverage that I've seen that said that he's been winning in the polls, and from personal conversations I've had with people of similar opinions as mine of being undecided, I don't think that the people that want to vote for Kamala will show out as much as I'm undecided they are too.
Nicole?
I'm seeing a lot more yard signs and social media posts supporting Trump.
Okay. So I'm curious about your political affiliations, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent. So who in this group considers themselves a Democrat? Any Democrats in this group? None. How about Republicans? No Republicans in this group. So all 6 of you are independents?